Hey everyone, Mel here, and today I'm going to show you my process for design for e-learning. I'm going to go over how I use Adobe XD to create designs for my Articulate Storyline projects. Here we have a sign-in form or sign-up form, and I created this in Storyline really quickly. Originally, when I first started doing e-learning, I would either use PowerPoint for my designs or I would just kind of quickly prototype in Storyline. But there were a few problems I was having with that. One, I couldn't really do things super quickly in an effective and efficient way. I couldn't create like really great user experiences because I wasn't really thinking about the design. I was more so just kind of prototyping things out. And then using PowerPoint, you're a little bit limited, and then it's very difficult to work in if you're doing just quick designs. So a few years ago, I switched over to doing my designs in Sketch, and now that Adobe XD is out, I've switched over to Adobe XD because it easily integrates with all of the other Adobe products. So I want to go over today basically my workflow for recreating this form. So this form, the user experience could be a lot better in, maybe visually pop in some different ways a little bit more to draw your attention to basically where you want the user to be looking and working in. Can go over this really quickly. So it's just a quick form where you want to put in your username. So create a username. I'll just put Mel. And then there's like no way to tell that you need to enter this. So if I click off of it, it's just going to check it and say, okay, you're good to go. And then it wants you to enter your email, and then you can enter that and it will do the same thing. But what I want to do is think a little bit more about the user experience. So in order to do this, what I've done so far, I'm just starting Adobe XD up here. You can see this is just the first screen that you're going to see before you start a project in Adobe XD. So I've already gotten this one started, but I'll just want to cover a few things before I get on. There's a new tab here in Adobe XD on add-ons, and you can do a bunch of different things in here that are really great, such as adding some different plugins. Some are free, some you have to have like accounts to different things, but there's tons of great plugins that will allow you to do things like adding lorem ipsum or placeholder images, or even exporting SVG code or CSS for more web development projects. But I'll let you guys take a look at that on your own. And I've got some plugins installed already. You can download UI kits, and then there's also just a list of app integrations. And all of these things will make developing or designing a lot faster for you. So I'm going to go back to home here, and I want to show you how I started this project out so I can share with you my workflow. So like I said, I really like to integrate different Adobe products into my design process here. So you can see here, I just have some quick mock-ups that I did, or sketches that I did on paper for this sign-up form. What we're going to use this sign-up form for is, or sign-in form rather, for just authenticating for XAPI. So basically, your person that will go to this will create a username and an email, and then that will access the Learning Record Store to be able to send information over for that specific username and email. So that's what we're doing today. So in order to do these two just quick sketches and bring them in here, I used a tool called Adobe Capture, which is if you have an Adobe account, you can do sketches or take pictures of anything, and it will create an image of that. So I only had lined paper, so you can see there's lines in here, so not probably ideal. But I like to make sure that I do some sketches before I go into design. So I've got these here for the sign-in screens. I had two different ones because I'm just kind of not sure which layout I want to go with. So I've got these two here, and I'll probably design both of these. The first one, I just want to have like an image on the top that goes across the whole sign-in. And then the second one, I just have a circle, so I may put like a circle image there. So if I go back over here, there's a lot of other stuff you can do with Adobe Capture. You can download it on your phone, and I like to also hold the camera up to different like posters or flyers or different things I see that I like the colors of, and you can create color palettes, and you can also create brushes and all kinds of stuff. But just for this use case, I just put in these two images that I wanted to go off of. So if I go to File, and then I go to Open CC libraries, you can see some different things that I would have in here that are coming from either another tool that I had added colors to or whatnot, or it could be from Adobe Capture. So one of these is one of these sketches as well. So you can see that put the whole sketch in there. But obviously I don't want it, so I'm gonna just take it out. But just really cool and helps with the design process a lot. So let's get started on doing the design itself. For my design, what I want to do is create a new artboard, and I can see the old sign in here and what that looks like. And I want to create a new artboard for this. So you can go ahead and click on the artboard tool here, and they've got a ton of different sizes and things that you can see here. What I'll do is I'll probably just pick this one and then adjust it to be the size of my storyline file. And you can go ahead and it's really easy to use XD. You can just move things around however you want. So I'm just going to call this new sign in. And then I want to change this to, let's see, 1280 by 720. So that it fits this size too. So I think that's what that is. So this is typically this the size that I use for my storyline projects. So this is what I'm going to go with here. And then you can see some of the differences between these two and then the old sign in. So for this one, what we want to start with is we want to start with the rectangle that's going to be the long one that's going to be in the center here. And I may want to do something like not have the edges be so rigid, so change the radius on those. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw this out. And let's see. So I'm going to try to wireframe everything out before I go into like full design mode with this and play around and see what's going to work best. I've got this here, and then I may want to change the radius of this, and that's a little bit more designy, but let's just do that for now. So I'm going to change it to 4. Maybe 5 actually. I don't want it to be too rounded. And then probably move this a little bit more, maybe out a little more even too. And we can go ahead and adjust this later. So there I've got that, that main piece there. And you know what also looks pretty good too is if this looks like it's kind of popping out. So I'll probably then go and add like some kind of shadow to it to give it a little bit more depth, and I'll probably change the blur, maybe like 20. Oh, that's a little aggressive. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. We can always go back and change some of these things, maybe 12. And then change the Y to, well, I can always come back and edit that. So then I think I'm going to do the top one first. I really like the idea of having the top piece be more so like an image versus just like an image in a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So what I want to do is move over here, go ahead, just going to put that up there. And then I think we may want to adjust the radius on this too, just to fit. So let's see, maybe we just want one of the parts to, maybe we want the top just to be the same. So you could see here, we're adjusting the radius for the different corners, and it shows up there, which is like so awesome because then you know exactly what you're looking at. And what was our radius here? So we've got 5. So I may want the top of this to be 5 and 5. You can see then it's like nice and lined up there. We don't really need it in the corners here because there's no corners. So we've got that so far. And then the next piece we want is we want to welcome someone. So I may change that text to something else, a little more friendly sounding. So maybe like, or like, hi there. And we can always go back and change this later. And so I think, I don't know what size it should be. I think in most of mine, I like to use circular, which is like a nice sans. So let's do, I don't know, let's try like 42, might be, that's pretty good. And then I'll come back and change that too. Maybe we want it, we'll put it in the middle for now because we had it there before. And then just go ahead and say, before you begin, we need some info. So we're gonna let them know, hey, before we start, we need some info. So you can see we're actually like pretty far along in this so far. And then let's do like 36. And then I probably want to pick, I don't know if I'll use Open Sans. Oh, do I not have Open Sans? This is a problem. I try to be consistent about the fonts that I use. So let's go ahead and I'll open one of my other ones and see what I'm typically using here. So this one I'm using Adobe Garamond. So let's go ahead and use Adobe Garamond for this. Nice serif. Maybe a little smaller. Do like 32. I don't know about that. It doesn't look that great. But... oh. So we can probably come back and work on that a little bit more. And then the first thing I want is to have the person create a username. So for the username, we won't typically check for anything like it's a unique username or whatnot because we're going to tie that to the email. So that's something good to know. So what I'll just do is create a field for that. Let's go ahead. Create a username. Maybe make that a little bit smaller, maybe like 28. And we want to have everything aligned. And then we'll want a text entry field for that. That's a huge box there. Let's see, how far should we have it go? Got 22 between everything here. And see, we're kind of using a lot of real estate, so possibly we may want to move this all out a little bit more. And then what we want to do is we probably want to have a button so that we know when to move on, because in the top one, we don't really know when to move on. And so with this one, I might do something a little different. I might, I try to keep all my buttons the same, but for this case, maybe I'll do a new button. So I'm going to do something that's like a little bit more rounded. Let's go out here and thin. And then let's see, what else do we need? So I've got these little arrows, and what I liked about these was it's kind of a way to indicate, you know, how much am I filling out in this form. And so I had these two little dots that you might typically see in like a carousel or something like that. And the one thing that I'm kind of thinking about, I'm not sure where I want to put them. I have them next to the button, but I may want to put them under the button. It just kind of depends on how much of the screen we're taking up and different things like that. So I'm kind of thinking about that. I can always move them. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably just grab all this. Just quickly group that. So the group, just to show you what that is. I'm going to be right clicking a lot so you can see kind of what to do on these things. So that's in the center right now. It's pretty good size wise, I think. I'm not like too keen on these fonts right now. It's like a little weird. Circular. So that looks a little nicer. Okay, so then our button. Let's come in here. Probably say enter. 28 seems like a lot, but we've already got it up there. Go ahead and center that. And the spacing on these things is like a little bit weird, so I may also change that too. All right, and maybe, I don't know how big we really need this. We'll find out more when I actually like add color and pictures and things in here. So we've kind of got the bones for this pretty much ready, except for like the little icons here. And actually, I think it might balance this out a little bit more if we put them right here, but I'm wondering if that's going to be a little bizarre looking. I don't know if that's like a common UI pattern to be putting things here. So one of the other things that I like to look at is I don't just like design things from like my mind. I like to like go out and look on different sites for different things. So one of the sites I was looking at some of these different pop-ups here is collectui.com. Some of these are tested actual patterns that people are using, and then some are just from people's minds. So I like to try to look at different examples and kind of get an understanding of that and what other people are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on this. I've got one circle there. And let's see, I'm going to group these for now. And then let's align this so that it's kind of near there. I don't know if that's going to look real weird, I feel. But okay, it's fine. We can change it. And then I'm going to come back to the form, and I've already got these arrows here that I used in the project, so I'm just going to bring one in. I have an SVG of it, and I can just drag it and drop it right in. I have an SVG of it somewhere, but I don't remember where, so I'm just going to use this animated GIF for now and kind of guesstimate on the size here. It's got a very transparent, large background container, and obviously this has to come first. Okay, and then I think maybe for this one, what I was doing before was just making the piece that is actually selected and whatever it's on to be larger than the other one, so it indicates that this is the one that I am truly on. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, and I sent the other one to the back. And right now it's at 21 by 21. I'm going to come here and lock the width and height, and then I'm going to probably change it to, let's try like 18, see, maybe smaller even, 16. Okay, and then just bring that down here. It just looks so strange there. So what I might do is, if I move it here, it also kind of looks weird there. Maybe just in the middle. Oh, okay. That's actually pretty good. Actually in the middle. Kind of makes sense, I think. Move this up. Cool. Okay. All right, so now we've kind of got this thing wireframed out. From this perspective, what I think that I'll do is do the same thing for the next one, because we want to have two artboards, two different screens. So the next screen is going to be pretty much the same, and just these two things will be changed out, and then it will ask the person to create a email. And then I want to also probably have something that if they get the wrong email, like it's not an actual like real email format, I'm gonna have some kind of just like warning sign come up, like please enter a actual real email. This looks like a really weird right now. So let's see. Okay, so I'll just keep that like that for now. And so then in our next steps, what I am going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and start to kind of fill in what this will look like.